Hello guys and welcome to the first ever video on the FPL Joe YouTube channel. We'll start with a rundown of Gameweek 13, then reveal my final transfer plans for Gameweek 14. For my team, a score of 58 points meant a fourth green arrow in a row, halving my overall rank from 344k to 176k. The template free hit team averaged around 72 points, although many of those managers now return to teams with 2 or 3 flags, so I'm not too concerned about the small deficit. Let's look at the key players from Gameweek 13. Flop of the week was Erling Haaland. Over 1.1 million managers entrusted Haaland with a triple captain, having never blanked when starting against a promoted team in the previous 6 occasions. But, as is often the case with FPL, that run came to an end when people least expected it, and he was unable to contribute in City's 3-2 win over Leeds. The Norwegian managed just a single shot in the 88th minute, a header straight at the keeper, generating only 0.13 XG, his lowest all season. Anyone who watched the game saw how aggressively Leeds prioritised marking him, often seeing 2 to 3 players assigned to robot duty. Haaland walked away with only 2 points in Gameweek 13. For my team, this was actually a blessing. A staggering 216% effective ownership meant that any points he scored would have damaged my rank, despite giving him the captain's armband. Managers who opted for his teammate, Phil Foden, were rewarded with 2 goals and 3 bonus for a massive 15-point haul. The 8.1 million midfielder has looked nailed since Gameweek 4, but has struggled to actually get on the score sheet, only registering 1 goal and 1 assist in the league up until Gameweek 13. Honourable mention in the flop category goes to Mohamed Salah. A popular pick for those on free hit, the premium midfielder was left on the bench following a string of poor Liverpool performances. The Egyptian king and typically 90-minute man remained an unused substitute this game, meaning many on the free hit saw a cheap defensive asset coming off the bench. This isn't bad planning, as with complete freedom to pick any players on free hits for the selected game week, many opt to have 4 cheap or non-playing players on the bench to maximise value in the starting 11. Whether the benching should give us concerns over Salah's minutes in the future is up for debate. West Ham is one of the easiest fixtures right now, even for a struggling Liverpool side, so it's not a massive risk for Arne Slot to take, while still sending a clear message that no one is unbenchable. For FPL managers though, who target these easy fixtures with big hitters like Salah and Haaland, it's unlikely that many will be picking him up anytime soon, especially as he departs for AFCON after Gameweek 16. Much like City's duo of Haaland and Foden, those who opted for Liverpool's mid-price midfielder, Cody Gakpo, saw huge returns. The 7.5 million midfielder came away with a goal, an assist, and 3 bonus for a 14-point haul. Foden and Gakpo will be priority targets for many managers for the upcoming fixture run. Managers should be cautious of the dangers of Pep Roulette, especially during congested fixture runs, and many had avoided Gakpo in recent weeks due to similar uncertainties around Liverpool's lineup. With tonight's deadline approaching, and Tuesday and Wednesday kickoffs for City and Liverpool respectively, it's still to be seen whether their minutes are as secure as we think. For my team, it was finally time to play my first wildcard of the season, having held on to it when many managers chose to use it early, mostly between game weeks 4 and 8. Saving it for this long did hurt my team value, as I couldn't offload my poorer performing game week 1 picks fast enough when their prices plummeted, namely Watkins, Rodgers, Murillo and Nico Williams. I plan to play a 4-3-3 or 3-4-3 most game weeks, selecting a few premium players, Haaland, Saka, Bruno and Mateta, and then spreading the remaining funds across high value picks like Thiago, Anderson and Minter, plus 5 playing defenders who can be rotated to target fixtures. I'll have 1 permanently bench midfielder, Potts, who I'll be unlikely to call upon having already used the bench boost in game week 5. Once the 5 AFCON transfers drop in game week 16, I'll aim to roll as many as possible each week, while still having cover for injuries and suspensions over the congested winter schedule, if I need them. If I can keep my team ticking over with 1 free transfer per week till January, there'll be the option to use all of them as a mini wildcard early in the second half of the season, so that I can save my actual second wildcard for aggressively targeting double game weeks later on in the season. For many engaged managers not on free hit, Bruno Fernandes came in clutch with 2 assists and 3 bonus for an 11-pointer. Owners of the United talisman have been somewhat unlucky in the season so far. He's missed 2 penalties and massively underperformed his XG of 5.0, only converting 2 goals all season. In Game Week 13, he also hit 11 DEFCONs for the 4th time this season, having only surpassed the 12 DEFCON threshold 3 times. He's averaging 10.5 DEFCONs per 90, which has led some people to point out that we've paid 9 million to count DEFCONs each week. What you do get with Bruno is a United team that flows through him. He's created more than 35 chances in the league this season so far, more than any other player. This means that when he does return, there's a very high likelihood of bonus points as well. We also expect him to remain on penalties, despite some shaky spot kicks earlier in the season, given his past penalty conversion record, but maybe not as certain as we used to be. So, for his 11-pointer at effective ownership of 11.1%, Bruno owns the MVP award for my Game Week 13 squad. Honourable mention this week goes to Elliot Anderson, the king of DEFCONs. The 5.4 million Forest midfielder racked up 18 defcons against Brighton, bringing his total to a league high of 175 defensive contributions, comfortably securing the 2 defcon points and coming away with 2 bonus despite no attacking returns for a 6-pointer. He's also expected to be on most set pieces, including penalties when Gibbs White is off the pitch, and created 6 chances in the previous game against Brighton. With an effective point floor of 4, he's arguably the most promising budget midfielder available right now, and he's already had a price rise ahead of Forest's visit to Molineux. Igor Thiago continued Brentford's rampant penalty run, converting from the spot for the 5th time this season, having also missed one in Game Week 12. Scoring twice after the 80th minute, the 6.7 million striker secured his 3rd 13-point haul of the season and brings his tally to 11 goals in the league this season so far. This is second only to Haaland's 14 goals and is a comfortable margin ahead of the joint 3rd place Mateta and Welbeck, each of whom have 7. Surely this penalty run can't continue, and if there's ever a time for that to happen, it's away at the Emirates. The Gunners have conceded a mere 7 XG all season, less than half of the second best defence City, who've conceded 14.2. A disappointing end to Game Week 13 saw Arsenal concede to a 10-man Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, following Caicedo's straight red card for a studs-up challenge on Marino in the 36th minute, Arsenal then conceding in the 48th minute from a corner. Chelsea looked the better team in this game, Arsenal racking up 4 yellow cards before half-time, forcing Arteta to take off Calafiori, who'd already accumulated 9 defcons when he was subbed at half-time, unlucky timing for his owners. With all that in mind, it's now time to look at Game Week 14. Having set up the wildcard for longevity, and Munoz holding out on 4 yellows against United, I have no major concerns to address this week. Despite his great form, Igor Thiago drops to the bench in favour of Lacroix against Burnley, with the Clarets only having managed 9.7 XG all season, worst in the league. I'm doubling up on both Arsenal and Crystal Palace defences, who've managed 7 and 6 clean sheets respectively this season so far, placing them in 1st and joint 2nd by that metric. With Nketiah back, my only slight concern is with Mateta's minutes in the midweek fixture with a tight Sunday to Wednesday turnaround. This follows the game versus United where Mateta played the full 90 as Palace pushed for an equaliser. If he doesn't start, we'd still expect him to feature off the bench, and even 30 minutes against Burnley is worth a shot. No transfers needed this week, so the plan is to roll the free transfer to give me 2 transfers to use in Game Week 15. With 0.1 million in the bank, transferring Mateta out to Voltemada for Burnley's visit to St James's Park seems the most likely move. The spare cash might go towards upgrading Potts to 4.9 million Dewsbury Hall, who's been on a great run of form, is a nailed-on starter, and has excellent long-term fixtures. It's a luxury transfer, but with the 5 AFCON transfers dropping the following game week, there's minimal reason not to. Now looking at the predicted points for Game Week 14, courtesy of FPL Review and Fantasy Football Hub. There are a number of fixtures to target, with Haaland, Bruno, Mateta and Saka all strong contenders for captaincy this game week. My captain's armband is currently on Bruno Fernandes versus West Ham at Old Trafford. I'm not ruling out a last-minute switch to Haaland, who goes away to Fulham in the opening match of Game Week 14. With United's game, the final match of the game week, is going to be a tense 48 hours if Haaland hauls tonight, waiting to see what United team turn up on Thursday. Vice-captain goes to Mateta. If I do cave and forfeit the captain's armband to Haaland, Bruno will be on vice-captain duties. And with that, the Game Week 14 deadline is almost here. If you enjoyed the video, a like and subscribe will go a huge way in supporting the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back to prepare for Game Week 15 in 2 days. Best of luck, and fingers crossed for another green arrow.